The Detroit Lions are making massive moves in the NFL, so we're going to be going through that and 3 other stories in today's video. So make sure to like this video, and if you want more Detroit Lions news content like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hitting that red button down below. The first story we're going to be talking about is Josh Sweat proved why the Detroit Lions should target him in the free agency. Going into the Super Bowl, he was easy to put on the list of free agents from the Philadelphia Eagles and Kansas City Chiefs the Detroit Lions could or should have on their radar. Then Josh Sweat took the field for the Eagles. The MVP award, regular season or Super Bowl, is a quarterback award. Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts was worthy of the Super Bowl MVP after his performance, but Sweat, who had 2.5 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 3 quarterback hits, 6 pressures according to Next Gen Stats, was right there as a proverbial runner-up. Sweat also naturally made himself a lot of money on Sunday night as he signed a reworked 1-year, $10 million deal with the Eagles last offseason. Betting on himself in the process, he had 8 sacks and 54 quarterback pressures during the regular season, and his Super Bowl performance further solidified him as arguably the top free agent edge rusher this year. The big question with Sweat is what he'll be costing to sign up. Spotrac has him projected at $18.8 million per year on a projected 3-year deal. He doesn't have all the splashy numbers of the best edge rushers in the league, but he's also a good run defender, and the lack of elite free agent pass rushers this year further enhances his value. Sweat will turn 28 in late March, and this might be one shot at a big contract. Some free agent suitors make particular sense for it, but any team in need of edge rusher help that has money to spend should be interested in him. Sweat recently changed agents as he moved towards free agency, hiring Drew Rosanis and Ryan Mata to represent him. Now, that points to him wanting to get the most money he can, as he should. Sweat of course wanted to savor the moment after winning the Super Bowl before worrying about his future. But he did mention a fit is an important part of the equation. Money's important, sure, but I want to be in the right situation, Sweat said. Getting into the next story is about the Detroit Lions 2024 season award. Now, the Detroit Lions fell just short of their ultimate goal in 2024, but the season was nonetheless a historic one for the franchise. While the disappointment of missing the Super Bowl lingers, Detroit proved to be the NFC's best team, finishing with a franchise record of 15-2, regular season record that is. Their success was driven by standout performances across the roster, fueling optimism for another strong campaign in 2025. Amon-Ra St. Brown continued his meteoric rise, solidifying himself as one of NFL's elite wide receivers. Surpassing 100 receptions and 1,000 yards for the 3rd consecutive season, St. Brown's consistency and versatility made him the centerpiece of Detroit's passing attack. His impact was further amplified by the emergence of Jameson as the team's second receiving threat. But it is St. Brown's ability to dominate at all levels of the field that sets him apart. The USC's product's performance earned him a well-deserved contract extension, cementing his role as a cornerstone of the Lions' offense. Jahmyr Gibbs took a massive leap in his sophomore season, becoming one of the league's most electrifying running backs, rushing for his 1,412 at an impressive 5.6 yards per carry. He ranked 4th in the NFL while leading the league in total touchdowns with 20. His dynamic skill set was on full display when he stepped up in the absence of David Montgomery, delivering 3 consecutive 100-yard rushing games. Gibbs' versatility as a receiver out of the backfield adds another dimension to Detroit's offense, and his 2024 performance places him firmly in the conversation for the NFL Offensive Player of the Year in 2025. Defensively, Kirby Joseph emerged as a game-changing safety in his 3rd season, leading the NFL with 9 interceptions. Joseph showcased his ability to ball hawk while forming a formidable duo with Brian Branch, though he was surprisingly left out of the Pro Bowl. His first-team All-Pro selection validated his impact on Detroit's defense. Joseph's ability to make plays in critical moments was crucial, especially as the Lions navigated a season marred by defensive injuries. The Lions' 2024 rookie class experienced growing pains, but first-round pick Terrion Arnold showed promise. Starting 15 games, Arnold initially struggled with penalties, but adjusted as the season progressed. His physical style of play fits the aggressive approach favored by defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn, and if Carlton Davis does not return, Arnold could compete for the team's top cornerback role in 2025. Jameson Williams capitalized on a fully healthy offseason, delivering his first 1,000-yard receiving season and proving himself as one of the fastest and most explosive receivers in the league. Despite serving a 2-game suspension mid-season, Williams expanded his route tree and became the true number 2 option behind St. Brown. Now, the upcoming season will be pivotal for Williams as he aims to further solidify his role in Detroit's high-powered offense. Offensive coordinator Ben Johnson was instrumental in the Lions' offensive success, earning NFL Assistant Coach of the Year honors as Detroit led the league in scoring and finished second in total yards. However, Johnson's departure to become head coach of the Chicago Bears signals a transition with John Morton stepping in to maintain the team's offensive momentum. Meanwhile, Glenn deserves recognition for holding the defense together despite a rash of injuries, finding ways to keep the unit competitive. One of the defining moments of the season came in the regular season finale against the Minnesota Vikings. Both teams entered the game with 14-2, battling for the NFC's number 1 seed. Behind a dominant performance from Gibbs, who accounted for 4 touchdowns, and stifling defensive effort that limited Minnesota to 3 field goals, the Lions secured a commanding 31-9 victory. The win cemented Detroit's status as the NFC's top team heading into the postseason. As the Lions shift their focus to 2025, expectations remain high. With an explosive offensive led by St. Brown, Gibbs, and Williams, a defense featuring emerging stars like Joseph and Arnold, and a new coordinator ready to guide the attack, Detroit is well positioned for another deep playoff run. The question now is whether they can take the final step and bring home their first Super Bowl title. In the third story, Emmanuel Moseley's tenure with the Detroit Lions has been a story of perseverance, potential, and misfortune. Once seen as a promising addition to the team's secondary, his repeated injuries have left both the player and organization at a crossroads. As he approaches unrestricted free agency in 2025, the question of whether the Lions should re-sign him looms large. His talent and experience are undeniable, but his reliability has been called into question after suffering 2 ACL tears and a torn pectoral muscle in just 2 seasons. The Lions, who are striving to build more formidable defense, must weigh the risk and reward of giving Moseley another chance of looking elsewhere for more durable option. Moseley's struggles began even before his arrival in Detroit. In 2022, while playing for the San Francisco 49ers, he tore his left ACL during a Week 5 matchup against the Carolina Panthers. At the time, he had been playing some of the best football of his career, solidifying himself as a starting caliber cornerback with impressive coverage skills. His injury was a significant setback as he entered free agency in 2023, and teams were understandably cautious about signing him. The Lions, however, saw an opportunity to add an experienced player to their young secondary and took a calculated risk by offering him a 1-year deal. Detroit hopes for Moseley were quickly dashed when he suffered another devastating injury, this time tearing his right ACL just 2 snaps into his debut with the team. The back-to-back knee injuries were a brutal blow, not just for Moseley but the Lions' defense, which was already struggling to find consistency in the secondary. Despite this, the organization remained optimistic and chose to re-sign him for the 2024 season, hoping he could return to form and contribute to a unit in desperate need of stability. Unfortunately, the 2024 season did not bring the redemption story that Moseley or the Lions had envisioned. Early in training camp, he tore his pectoral muscle, sidelining him once again. Though he managed to return late in the season, he played only 2 games, and his contributions were limited to special teams. By the time playoffs arrived, he was inactive for most of the team's crucial matchups for a player once considered a valuable asset. His inability to stay on the field had become a glaring issue. The Lions' secondary, already dealing with its own challenges, underwent significant changes during the 2024 season. The team made bold moves to reshape its defensive backfield, bringing in veteran cornerbacks Carlton Davis and Amick Robertson, while also investing in young talent through the draft. Rookies Terrion Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw Jr. were brought in to provide long-term solutions at the position. signaling a shift in the team's approach. These acquisitions made it clear that Detroit was prioritizing durability and future potential over players with an extensive injury history. While Mosley's experience and leadership could still be valuable, his role with the team became increasingly uncertain. The Lions had already parted ways with Cam Sutton and Jerry Jacobs, two players who had previously been key figures in their defense. The decision to move on from them underscored the organization's commitment to a fresh start, one focused on building a reliable and sustainable defensive unit. Given this direction, it is difficult to see a scenario in which Mosley remains with the team beyond the expiration of his contract. For Mosley, the road ahead is filled with uncertainty. At 29 years old, he is still in what should be in the prime years of his career, but his inability to stay healthy has significantly diminished his market value. Teams in need of veteran cornerback depth may still consider him a viable option, but any contract offer will likely come to stipulations, such as incentive-based deals or short-term agreements that protect teams in case of further injuries. If the Lions do choose to move on from Mosley, they will likely turn their attention to other options in free agency or the draft. Given their recent defensive struggles, it is crucial for the team to find players who can not only stay healthy but also contribute at a very high level.